Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I have a message for you after a very kind of not feeling very high energy, kind of battling some different, health conditions and trying to get to the bottom of it this week. So I haven't actually done a Facebook Live for almost a week, I think, which is kind of unheard of. So I'm grateful for anybody who is tuning in now. And as usual, I would love to hear from you guys. So drop me a comment, let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. And as usual, any questions or comments that you have, any ways that you want to contribute to the conversation that we'll have today. But I want to let you guys in on a little bit of what's been going on in my life and my world and why you haven't seen as much of me recently, and also hoping that the message that I have to share with you guys is one in which it will really help you to regain all of your energy, take back your power, and stop directing it and letting it kind of seep out in directions that aren't actually empowering for you and aren't even moving you in a direction that you want to move in, right? So I'm going to be talking about health, and using that as the example of what's been going on in my life. And also I'm going to use some examples in relationship, as usual. and I definitely want to tackle, issues that we have time and time again just by being human beings, and we can be so well-intentioned, but we just get this stuff wrong and we end up exerting a hell of a lot of energy in directions that aren't actually moving the needle forward and getting what we're after done. And in actual fact, more so than that, it costs us a hell of a lot of energy. We get burnt out and we're no better off. In fact, oftentimes when we don't know, the true cause or how we're actually supposed to treat a problem, we end up just focusing on the symptoms of it and running around on the surface and exhausting ourselves and getting nothing accomplished. And like I said, more so than just getting nothing accomplished, we can end up making matters a hell of a lot worse. So as usual, super grateful to have each and every one of you tuning in. So let's get into it. Today's message is treating symptoms will never cure the cause, and it'll more than likely burn you out in the process. All right, so now I want you to think about in your life right now, where do you have a problem that you feel like you've been tirelessly trying to solve? You've been tirelessly trying to find answers and make a change and leave this problem behind, but you kind of feel like you're just spinning around in circles, like you never really feel like you've kind of got it. And then you try different things and that never really solves the problem. So the example I'm going to use is a challenge I've been having in my health recently. And I want to also bring up an example in relationship, because this is so key in our relationship challenges as well. But I want you to, if you feel open to it, drop me a comment and let me know what is the challenge that you're going around and around in circles with in your life right now. And let me see if I can support you on that as well. So let's start with this. So most people, when they've got a problem, right, they're alerted to the problem because they're seeing some sort of symptoms come up, right? And so they're like, oh, okay, this is painful, or I don't like this. And it could be in a relationship, like where you're not feeling connected, or you feel like there's too much conflict or whatever. And you start trying to navigate the symptoms. And you keep going and you feel like you're really trying to do your best and you're putting all this energy and effort in, but you never really get anything solved and the same old problem keeps repeating. All right, this is going to be a key one for you. Now, let me use my health as an example recently, okay? Because I have had, pretty much all this year, some really on and off kind of things going on with my energy levels. And you guys have been following me for a long time now. You know that I love health, right? Health is one of my highest values. I think of myself as quite a healthy person. I eat really well. I'm really conscious of studying, the human body and how things are working and being at optimal levels and longevity and all of that great stuff, along with training and all sorts of things, right? And so it hadn't been making sense to me that I was lacking energy. And also one of the things that was happening over and over again for me was I was feeling nauseous all the time, right? And anybody who's experienced nausea, right? Like, you know, it's just like the worst feeling in the world. And I thought, what is that? And I started feeling it straight after I'd been eating. And then I started thinking, oh, maybe I've got some sort of food allergy. Maybe I need to shift up my diet. Did all that, still didn't solve the symptom, right? But I was wondering, well, what is this? Maybe there's a deeper issue, a deeper challenge. And you know, going and searching and trying to solve this nausea. Now, flash forward, what I've come to believe through my experience and my new studies and going deeper and deeper and deeper was that my nausea, right, that I was trying to treat the nausea, right? What can I do to get rid of this nausea? I'm treating the symptom. I started looking a lot deeper, and what happened was I discovered that I have very low blood pressure, and low blood pressure causes nausea, right? So nausea is the symptom, can be a symptom of low blood pressure, right? But then I went even deeper and I'm like, well, why do I have such low blood pressure? Albeit that, you know, low blood pressure could be a good thing, but in the extreme way that I have it, it can have problems, right? You don't want to walk around your life feeling nauseous. You don't want to feel like you're going to pass out, right? So you want to look even deeper than that. And what I discovered was it could be something to do with adrenal fatigue, right? So here's just a working example that's been going on in my life, right? I noticed the nausea, right? I wanted to figure out how to get rid of it, right? But still, that's a symptom of the problem, right? It's not the cause of the problem. I went deeper. Low blood pressure was the cause of the nausea, but still we're not deep enough. I had to go even deeper to look at adrenal fatigue, which was creating the symptom of low blood pressure, which was creating the symptom of nausea. Then looking at adrenal fatigue, what's causing that, right? Like, you know, all sorts of things that I'm tackling in my life right now, you know, like how do I de-stress? How am I using my physical body? You know, am I overexerting it, right? All sorts of things. Oh, don't know what happened to my screen right then. There we go. But anyway, this is just a working example in your health, how this can play out. But now let me just give you an example that I see time and time again, and I've experienced this time and time again. Let's use the example of, you know, in my past, I've oftentimes addressed a challenge with a past partner, right? And I've done it in, you know, maybe I've done it in an angry tone, for instance, right? And bringing up a problem or a challenge in the relationship, right? And basically having my partner, I don't know why my screen's done that. Anyway, basically having my partner then get angry at the fact of how I've delivered the message, right? And so from him, you know, seeing it that way, what happened was, even though I could be addressing a potential problem that's going on in the relationship, in the way that I addressed it, right, a symptom of a deeper problem, right? You know, I was maybe angry, right? Because that's the symptom of not feeling loved, for instance, right? So what happened was he would then get offended by the way I delivered that message. And now all of a sudden we're trying to treat the symptom on the top. Like, how do we communicate without anger to one another? Which is a great, you know, tool to have in your tool belt. But what would happen was we'd just get totally caught up around and around and around to the point where we were both emotionally exhausted at this point. And so we'd spent all this time and energy investigating how to communicate in the right tone to one another, right? So that now we're just so burnt out emotionally with the back and forth that the actual true problem that was being brought to the table in the beginning it never gets addressed, right? So we never go deeper than that. And this is what happens over and over and over again. When we stay hyper-focused on the symptom, we never get to the true cause. And this is what keeps our problems in recycle mode. I don't know, I've got too much light coming in at me or something. But anyway, I hope that this can resonate with you guys. You know, where is it in your life where you feel like you just keep repeating the same old problem after problem, right? basically what you want to do is you want to go, well, what's beneath that, right? What if this is just a symptom of a greater cause? All right. And so when you can look at that, right, then you can go, so in that example of relationship, if two people just feel like they're conflicting all the time, they're just getting into this burnout and this disconnection, they can't see eye to eye, they could treat the symptom, right? A communication problem. They don't know how to, navigate conflict properly. So they could go and learn some great skills about how to navigate conflict, right? But what has created the conflict, right? Like, what is underneath that? What's the real issue at heart? Because we could spend our lives running around on the surface, burning ourselves out, treating all the symptoms, health-wise, relationship-wise, career-wise, financial-wise, whatever, right? And then if we just took the time to go deeper and look at what was actually causing the symptom, we could focus all of our time, energy, and effort onto that. Like my example in health, instead of me navigating all the different strategies for mitigating nausea when you experience it, I can instead go, you know what? This is a symptom of a deeper problem. So let me address that. Let me not numb out to the symptom, which is my body's way of alerting me to some problem being at play. I don't want to dull that down. I want to look at that as feedback to what's truly going on under the surface. And that's the more intelligent way of tackling the challenge, to look at the things that we experience as potential symptoms rather than causes all of the time, so that we can investigate, we can go deeper, and we can actually tackle the root and remove it, so that we're not just ripping out weeds and having them repeat and grow all the time. We're taking them out from the root so they don't come back over and over again, right? So that's what we want to look at when we have particularly repeating challenges in our lives. But anytime you have a problem, the best thing to do is to ultimately think about, if this was a symptom, what could be the deeper cause? And I want you to think about, in terms of relationships, right? All relationship problems are ultimately symptoms, and the separation from ourselves is often the cause. All right. So just think about that one, right? That's a very deep message that I just gave you, but it's so powerful, because what it does, it allows you to see that whenever I have a challenge in a relationship, it's oftentimes, and I can't solve it, it's oftentimes the cause is a disconnection from myself. I'm not clear on what's going on under the surface for myself. I'm not clear of what's going on under the surface of this other individual. And so all these relationship problems are oftentimes symptoms to that disconnection within the individual selves. All right. And that's a really key component when we talk about relationship problems. And you could apply that again to health problems. You could apply it to financial problems, all sorts of things. So hope that this message is resonating with you guys. I definitely want to check in and see who's been able to join me, and would love to hear any questions or comments or words of wisdom that you might have to share. Would love to hear from you guys as I check in now. But Alicia's back. Good to see you, beautiful. And Jose, and Tina and Than and Ross, good morning to you, my friend. And Jose, glad to say hi and to you again. Always good to see you, my friend. Grateful to have you come back. And Mari is here, and Francis from Amsterdam. Awesome, love having you here. And Paul and Trent and Ravi and Joel and Than, good morning to you, or good afternoon from Australia. And Francis, food addiction. Oh, that's a good one, right? Like, I think a lot of us can relate to being addicted to food, particularly when we're lacking connection. So here's one of the things that I look at with food addiction. Because obviously we know what is healthy and we know what's not necessarily healthy, right? And so basically, if we're addicted to anything, it means that we're out of control with it. It's taking over, it's creating some sort of negative impact on our lives, right? So when we look at food addiction, it could be for numerous different reasons. But what we want to do is look at that as a symptom, right? We can go, okay, I'm addicted to food, right? And we can look at that, okay, instead of it being the cause and we're just trying to treat ourselves for food addiction. An example of that would be, oh, I'm a food addict, so you know what? I'm just not going to buy all the bad food, right? So you're treating the symptom, but anybody who's experienced food addiction or any addiction knows that when you're in the grip of the addiction, you will go to the ends of the earth to meet that addiction, right? Even though you tried to treat the symptom of, say, not buying food, right? Not buying the food to have in your home, you'll go out, right? You'll go out in that moment of addiction and you'll go do it, right? And so you just keep relying on willpower in order to solve the problem, but it's because we're stuck up in treating the symptom. Now, food addiction, if we go, what if this was a symptom of a deeper problem, right? What if we could discover what the true cause of this is? And then what we look at is we look at what triggers me into this. What is the emotional response connected to this? When do I tend to fall into food addiction? Is it when I feel disconnected? Is it when I feel lonely? Is it when I feel overwhelmed and stressed? Is it when I have a fight with my partner? Whatever it is, right? Now we're getting a little bit deeper. Now we can look at, okay, and what is, say, for example, you looked under the food addiction as the symptom and you looked at, okay, I feel lonely and disconnected. So I just turned to food as a little moment of joy or connection with myself, right? And then we can go deeper than that. Why am I disconnected from myself, right? Why am I disconnected from others? What's going on underneath that, right? We're getting deeper and deeper and we're going into the cause, all right? So there's, lots we can go into with that. But I appreciate you, Francis, for sharing an example there. And I hope that made sense. And you could kind of use this as a working example. Instead of treating everything like it's the problem and the cause and let's solve it, let's ask, what if this was just a symptom of a deeper issue? And that's the only real way out is to go deep and to go through, right? Otherwise, we remain oblivious to the real driving forces that are at play and we end up just burning ourselves out, right? That's the whole message that we're talking about today. And Darko's here, awesome. And Javier, good to see you. And Doreen and Javier, thank you so much for those kind words. Love having you here. And Yolanda is here, and Troy and Peter. Awesome to see each and every one of you guys. And I really hope that today's message has hit home for you. You know, too many of us are repeating our same old problems all the time. It's so exhausting. So if you really want a way out, I invite you to just go deeper. Instead of thinking the problem that you're experiencing is the cause and the biggest thing at play, ask yourself, what if this was just merely a symptom of something deeper at play? And the deeper you go, the more likely it is that you'll rip the weed out with the root and won't have it repeating. And if any of you would ever like any support or guidance with this, as you guys know, you can always reach out to me. And also, I would definitely invite you guys to come and join us in the Limitless Potential Academy, where we do monthly masterclasses, we go deep, we grow together, we're in 35 different countries, and we are all here to support, challenge, and encourage each other to reach for a new level of our potential, break through old past patterns, and, build our tool belts to actually break through in life and feel fulfillment and empowerment, all right? And if you would like access to a beautiful community like that and any guidance that I can support you on with that, with coaching and training, then all you have to do is drop me a comment or shoot me a message and I'll send you over the details for you to join. So that's it from me today, guys. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for showing up live today, for contributing to the conversation. You are so appreciated. And if this message was of value, please do share it. That's such a gift that you guys can give to me to get into the minds and the hearts of other exceptional human beings just like you. And my message to leave you with, as usual, is to go out there share and live authentically, love deeply, and contribute meaningfully and purposefully. Much love, and I'll see you guys soon.